On this Memorial Weekend, we remember and salute the sacrifices of some pretty incredible men and women and their fight to protect our freedom. A battle of different sorts in San Diego. The Padres' mission today, find a way to stop the new best player in baseball, though he's not so new. I guess people are just finally giving him his just due. Welcome inside the Fox Network Center. Kevin Kennedy, Jeannie Zalasko.
They can't stop him.
Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, sure Cardinals manager Tony La Russa says his star first baseman can be compared to all the greats. So why the need of late to compare him to Barry Bonds? Who knows? Guilt by home run association is not fair. Still, Albert Pujols felt the need to step forward in support of Mr. Bonds.
I ain't saying that he's no innocent because he said that he has used a cream before in the past, but I'm just saying that they haven't found that guy guilty, and everybody's just destroying the name. It's real sad, the life that he's living that I don't want to go through. They asked me about, what about you? Are you taking steroid? And like, you come and see me in the off season, and you see how hard I have to work to get to this level.
It's a shame Albert's already had to defend himself last week, and even with your interview, Jeannie, yesterday, because the numbers are incredible. 23 home runs already this year, on pace to maybe catch or pass Barry Bonds. I mean, he's doubled it from a year ago where he was the MVP. That shouldn't happen. Perception versus reality. Albert Pujols, I agree with him. Follow him. Check him out. Yeah. The guy does it the right way. He's incredible.
You keep leaving off the most important number, 6. He's traveling with a 6-month-old. Sleep deprived. He's pulling this off.
That's exactly right.
All right, some more numbers for you as we check out the NL West.
Could it be everybody over 500? I think it's going to take more than 82 wins to win the division. 88 might do it this year. The Dodgers playing well once again. Get it going in D.C. Yeah, Jeannie, Jeff Kent. Oh, he swings through the ball and kicks his wrist. Take a look. Comes out of the ball game. Check him after the game, see how he is. Nomar on fire from the 7th inning on. Batting average is .559. Breaks the tie. That is #1 in Major League Baseball in the 7th on. Clutch by Nomar, the Dodgers win.
That's pretty clutch of late as well. In Florida, that would be Ramon Castro, though, with the home run to left center. Out front, 2-zip. And how about Tom Glavine?
Tommy's unbelievable. Good changeup today once again. Good fastball, cutter,
Perfect through 5, then this happened.
Yeah, broke it up right there.
Reggie Abercrombie.
You know what? He's pitching more inside. Talked to him just 2 days ago. He's still doing the same stuff, but just changing the eyesight of the hitters better.
This just final. Braves get the win. Chicago Cubs GM Jim Henry saying that Dusty Baker is safe. Can you guys please leave me alone? All right, we got to get you out to the ball game. The only S word that should come to mind when you see Albert Pujols is swing. It is the best in the game. Another S word, San Diego Padres trying to get back on track at home. It's Fox Saturday Baseball, your game of the week.
He has been the most remarkable player of the season. 23 home runs, 58 runs batted in, and his star power has him in a different stratosphere. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take aim at the San Diego Padres. Fox Saturday Baseball from the Pacific Shores, and yes, it is where Pujols soars. At least he has potential to do that for the first-place Cardinals. They are 4 games up in the Central. The Padres, meantime, mid-pack in a very competitive National League West. Welcome to Fox Saturday Baseball, along with Mark Grant. I'm Josh Lewin, and in many ways, it is the Albert Pujols show, isn't it?
Albert Pujols is one unbelievable athlete. He can hit the ball to all fields. He hits for average. He hits for power. He drives in runs. This guy's a Triple Crown threat. It hasn't been done many times in baseball, but this is one guy who can definitely do it.
All right, so he's got the Cardinals in first place, and yes, he's got help. More on that as we go. But for the Padres, they're in a race here. I'm looking at it. They're 15th out of 16 teams in batting average in the National League. Mark, how are they surviving?
Josh, they don't have much power, but the one thing that we talk about throughout baseball is pitching and defense. They're 4th in the National League with an ERA, and then in defense, they're strong up the middle. They've got Khalil Green at short, Josh Barfield, a regular at second base, and ever since they've got Mike Cameron back in center field, he's taken away a lot of hits, a lot of runs for the opposition.
And every once in a while, somebody pops one out of there. Mike Piazza did that yesterday. In fact, the 3rd longest home run in the history of this beautiful ballpark. The Padres and the Cardinals are coming up next. Today's pitching matchup, Sidney Ponson and Chanahoe Park. The Padres tried to trade for Ponson last summer. Phil Nevin vetoed the deal. 2 days later, the Padres turned around and traded Nevin for Chanahoe Park. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 1 degree of Phil Nevin. for those of you scoring at home. The starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals brought to you by Taco Bell. And the Cardinals, 7-1 losers yesterday, have Eckstein and Spezio getting it going for the aforementioned Mr. Pujols. And you've got Scott Rowland, Juan Encarnacion. So Taguchi is in for the ailing Jim Edmonds. Nothing serious, but that stomach bug apparently has him on the shelf today. Yadier Molina, Hector Luna, and of course the pitcher Ponson batting ninth. Mark Grant, you've got Chan-Ho Park out there on the mound. And Chan-Ho Park, last time out, giving up 10 runs. The ERA is up at 4.5 because of that.
You know, he got knocked around quite a bit his last start. 7 singles of those 10 hits. And this is one guy who has really battled for the Padres, working out of the bullpen. He's got to be aggressive in the strike zone. Have that power pitcher mentality.
That pitcher profile brought to you by Mobile One Extended Performance. And yeah, scouting out Chan-Ho Park. David Eckstein lofting one towards center field. Mike Cameron right there. There's one down. Now, besides Mike Cameron out there in center field, Dave Roberts plays left. Brian Giles flanks him in right. Josh Bard not only is a catcher today, but is hitting cleanup for Bruce Bochy's Padres.
It's the second time for Josh Bard batting in the cleanup spot, and nobody on the Padres staff. There's one guy that's hurt that throws a knuckleball. And we know the knuckleball story with Josh Bard in Boston.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate that will be his legacy in Boston. Good guy, just kind of a tough thing having to catch that knuckler. Spezio rolling one slowly towards second base. Another former Boston Red Sox, Mark Bellhorn, taking care of Spezio, and that very quickly gets us to Albert Pujols right away.
No, 2 quick outs for Chan-Ho Park. We'll see how he goes about pitching to Albert Pujols. Will it be breaking balls early? Will it give him something to hit? This guy's always in scoring position when he comes up to the plate.
Now, Cardinal hero Stan Musial, of course, was Stan the Man. Albert Pujols is en Espanol el hombre. A humble, down-to-earth human being who just may be the best all-around baseball player on the planet.
He has a lot of guys shaking in their boots when they're out there on the mound, depending on what the situation will, whether they pitch to him or not.
Pujols is averaging, Mark, 1 home run every 7 at-bats. Put that in perspective, San Diego's hitters, 1 homer every 45.
You can see Chan-Ho Park going after Albert Pujols. He wants to get into the dugout after 1, 2, 3 hitters for the St. Louis Cardinals. He doesn't want to hang anything. He's throwing them breaking balls away. But the one thing about Pujols, he can square up and go the opposite way with the best of them with serious power.
Rolling it to short, however. That is a nice, quick, lickety-split inning for Chan-Ho Park. Sidney Ponson will be on the mound for the Cardinals when we come back. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Mobile One Extended Performance, the oil that's changing oil. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan, Chevy, an American revolution. Great to have you with us today here in San Diego. Overcast as the Padres and Cardinals have at it. And the San Diego Padres batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Roberts leads it off, and he led off yesterday with a home run in the first inning. Cameron and Giles, Josh Bard, Khalil Green, Mark Bellhorn, Adrian Gonzalez. Jeff Blum at third base again, as he was yesterday. Chan-Ho Park pitching and batting ninth. And we've talked about Sidney Ponson getting the ball coming off the DL. Chris Duncan, by the way, dispatched back to AAA before the game. Here is Sidney Ponson.
And in his repertoire, a sinker, a slider, a 4-seam fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. You see his numbers before he was hurt. Very impressive for Sidney Ponson, so a big start for the right-hander.
The pitcher profile brought to you by Mobile One Extended Performance.
He's going to have a big adrenaline rush. You can throw all you want on the side, rehab assignments. You're pitching in a big league ball game. You're going to have to control your emotions.
And you got to field your position, which he does. Dave Roberts is out. More on Ponson in a moment, but first let's give you the supporting cast behind him here. We mentioned Jim Edmonds is out today. And so Taguchi will get the call in center field. Pujols, of course, at first base. He has played a Gold Glove caliber first base this year.
Yeah, you talk about Gold Gloves, you talk about All-Stars. The St. Louis Cardinals have them all. With Jim Edmonds out of the lineup, that's 8 Gold Gloves. Scott Rowland, 6 Gold Glove, 4-time All-Star.
One strike pitch to Mike Cameron, make it 0-2. Ponson strong in his first inning coming back.
Well, we mentioned quick outs in the adrenaline rush. That one pitch for the first out was great for Sidney Ponson. He's going to be on a pitch count. They're going to look to 75 to 80 pitches for Sidney this afternoon.
Sore elbow is what he's been nursing on the DL. This is a St. Louis pitching staff, Mark, that's got the best ERA in the National League, around 3.6.
They've all got good breaking stuff. They pound the strike zone with their stuff. They're not afraid to throw strikes. They know how to set up hitters.
And they can hum that fastball by it. 2 down.
That's one thing Dave Duncan said about Sidney Ponson. He can get up about 92, but it's the placement. He goes up the ladder, and Mike Cameron. A lot of pitchers been throwing Mike Cameron away with sliders, but Sidney Ponson goes up the ladder for the strikeout.
Brian Giles the next to face him. And Brian Giles delivers with a base hit to left.
Well, the way the Cardinals were playing defensively, they had Brian Giles to pull. David Eckstein was nearly over towards second base, and Brian Giles, a short, quick stroke against Ponson, just beats him on the defensive end. That's a routine ground ball if Eckstein's playing a regular short.
I think regular and cleanup man, probably not 2 words or phrases we'd affix here to Josh Bard, but he's got the call today for Bruce Bochy. Seemed excited about it.
Very excited. Bruce Bochy's very excited. He feels very comfortable with Josh Bard behind the plate when Mike Piazza takes a day off.
He'll slap one to left field. Cleaning up indeed. Into the corner it goes. Giles being windmilled home. Relay throw headed to the plate. Too late. It's the Padres up 1-0.
Well, with Sidney Ponson wanting quick early outs, the San Diego Padres are being aggressive in the count early. Josh Bard swinging early in the count, and once again, not trying to pull that ball, just using the whole field.
Well, you mentioned that Josh Bard unable to handle Tim Wakefield's knuckler in Boston. He was shipped to San Diego so the Red Sox could reacquire the Wakefield specialist, Dr. Mirabelli. Bard, it looks like he'll be a useful player here in San Diego. Khalil Green takes strike 1.
Big key for San Diego also is getting Sidney Ponson into the stretch. Another runner in scoring position. Khalil Green, one guy, if he gets hot, he can carry a team for a while.
Skies that one left center. Taguchi on the run. He's got it. And some Fox sounds of the game takes it a break. 1-0 Padres. Two of the longest tenured managers in the National League here, Mark. You've got Mr. La Russa, you've got Mr. Bochy. They were matched against each other in the playoffs last year. The Cardinals swept the Padres in the National League Division Series. Scott Rowland takes up 2 high, and the Padres leading today 1-0.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy, his years with the Padres, 4 years under 500, 4 seasons, over 500. And for Tony La Russa, only 2 seasons under 500. So the contrast there, the teams that they've had in San Diego and St. Louis.
Rowland bops one foul. Yeah, La Russa's had the Cardinals actually in the postseason 6 of 11 years now. And it wasn't just that NLDS from this past October. Really, since 1998, the Cards have been whipping up on the Padres pretty good.
You know, they're those teams in the American League and National League. You go to spring training, you know that they're going to have some type of appearance in the postseason. And St. Louis Cardinals seems to be one of those teams every year.
Tearing it up again this year are the Cardinals. They have by far the best winning percentage in baseball the last 3 seasons. Rowland taking in 2 snug. But you know, we've talked a lot about Pujols, Mark, and I'm sure we'll talk more about him today, but The pitching seems to carry the day. The starters, especially Mulder and Carpenter, have been quite celebrated. But the bullpen, very consistent too. Roland bangs one in the right. And there will be no hit artistry for Chan Ho Park this afternoon.
You talk about power hitters like Albert Pujols using the whole field. Well, Scott Rowland is that same type of guy. He can hurt you. He had some shoulder surgery last year, and it takes a long time for a guy to heal, especially with the shoulder. And as time goes on, he stays healthy. He'll continue to get hot and stay hot.
And he's a Midwest guy with Midwest sensibilities, and I think a lot of people figured St. Louis would be the perfect place for him. He has blossomed there, no doubt. Juan Encarnacion. And the man they used to call the Train in Detroit, taking on the inside edge.
We'll have to see how Chan Ho Park counters to the big wingspan of Encarnacion. He can hurt you also. He's got a good sinker. He can throw him.
Encarnacion uncoils and loops it into right center field. It's down for a base hit. Roland played it smart. He only went about a half of the way towards second base, needing to make sure it did drop in.
When you've got the power sinker like Chan Ho Park, you're going to jam a lot of guys. You might get a lot of infield hits. You might get some dunkers in between the outfielders and infielders. I mentioned last time out for Chan Ho Park, those 10 hits, 7 of them were singles.
And a lot of them in the second inning. It's kind of beware the Ides of the second inning. 8 runs in that second inning, and that really led to the bloated pitching line that he had for the day.
There was a point, Josh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits in a row, but they changed one to a sacrifice. It would have been 6 singles in a row.
So Taguchi in there for Jim Edmonds. Now, nothing serious, we're told, regarding Jim Edmonds, but that lower abdominal infection keeping him out today. The entire Cardinals team, they're hurting pretty good a couple days ago.
Yeah, there were 13 of them that were under the weather. And that stuff goes around the clubhouse. That could wipe out a ball club.
Jeff Suppan saying quite charmingly he was riding the porcelain bus all day on Thursday.
Well, you know, it didn't seem like he was doing that. You know, he gave up 7 runs last night, but he pitched pretty well. He made a couple of mistakes, but he did not look from his body presence on the mound that he was sick at all.
Taguchi jabs and bunts it. Chan Ho Park with a thought about third. Instead will wing it to first. And the sack for So will get it done here. Runners moving to second and third with 1 out.
Well, after last night's ball game, when the Padres beat the Cardinals 7-1, Tony La Russa wants to get that sacrifice in order. 1 hit equaling 2 runs possibly for St. Louis. But a nice technique by So Taguchi.
And again, with all the attention, Mark, regarding Pujols, that's great. That's the grandiose thing that you can look at. The little things always seem to be there, too, for these St. Louis Cardinals.
Seems like they execute in every aspect of the game. Tony La Russa, unpredictable at times, sacrificing. He'll squeeze. He'll hit and run with anybody on this ball club.
Yadier Molina, one of the St. Louis players hardest hit by that stomach flu a couple days ago. He actually spent some time in the hospital.
You know, you get the stomach flu. You know how it just.
Oh, man.
You know, you're down for a few days. Your body seems slow. Seems like you've got cement legs.
Slowly hit ground ball to second base. Good enough to get a run in and tie the score here in the second inning. 2 singles, a sacrifice, and a worm burner to second base, and the Cardinals get that run.
You said it earlier, the little things that win you ball games, and they will sacrifice. Molina will sacrifice that broken bat for that RBI. He had the right idea, hitting the inside part of that baseball, just punching it to the right side, and that's how you get all those high fives in the dugout. Nice piece of hitting off of Chan Ho Park.
Hector Luna takes 2 high. One thing about Chan Ho Park, at night when the ball doesn't jump or carry as much as in the day, he's allowed only 1 home run in 38 innings this year. But in 20 daytime innings, Mark, 5 home runs in an ERA up near 9. That ball doesn't jump enough off the bat of Luna. Roberts will corral it. The Cardinals have tied it 1-1, bottom 2 coming up on Fox. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. This is San Diego, California, where the Cardinals are playing the Padres today. Josh Lewin, Mark Grant with you on Fox. Mark Bellhorn at the plate. Sidney Ponson is off the DL. He's missed the last 3 weeks. He has returned here today. And pretty quickly in that first inning was dealing with the run on the board there, Mr. Grant.
And you know what, Sidney Ponson, speaking of quickly, Josh, he works quickly. That's one good way to get in a groove. Seems like he's thrown all of his pitches up into this point, 13 total.
Ponson is yet to lose as a Cardinal, 3-0. His last 9 starts last year with Baltimore, he was 0-7 at an ERA about mid-8. His first 6 starts with the Cardinals, though, 3-0, 3 no decisions. ERA of 2.81. Bellhorn down the line foul.
One of the things pitching coach Dave Duncan said about Sidney Ponson before the game is that his breaking stuff right now is better than it was in 05. He's pounding the strike zone, and I don't care if you're a year in the big leagues or 10 years in the big leagues, you have to trust your stuff. Sidney Ponson, when he was healthy early, was trusting his stuff. Fastball moves in tight to Bellhorn. He does seem to walk and to strike out a lot. It's the walk and not the strikeout. Well, time for a look now, Mark, at the Burger King Have It Your Way home field advantage. How the Padres fans have it their way. That Western Metal Supply Company providing one of the most interesting backdrops in baseball. It's a great place to watch a ball game. They've got restaurants up there. They've got gift shops. It's always a lot of fun. Also, when somebody goes up there in one of those balconies, you get a free souvenir of baseball up there. They don't give away free metal. There's a rip and a foul back by Gonzalez. By the way, fans, you can always have it your way at Burger King. Mike Piazza went balcony yesterday. Not too many people have gone up there. Khalil Green has gone up top the Western Metal Supply Company building. And a little history in that place also. Back in the day, the Pacific Coast League, they made baseballs and they sold them at that building. Mike Piazza getting the day off today. We mentioned Josh Bard doing the catching. But some Hall of Fame credentials on your screen right there. And what he brings to San Diego is star power. What he also brings is a threat at the plate when there are runners on base for the 2-run shot, the 3-run shot. Adrian Gonzalez, the batter, he had a home run yesterday. Towards left, down for a base hit. The native San Diegan, Adrian Gonzalez, now has an 8-game hitting streak. Big treat for Adrian Gonzalez, putting on the Padre uniform, no doubt about that. And I think that's going to be his strength, going to left field. He homered last night to left field. Occasionally he will spin on one and pull the baseball. But right now, Josh, as far as his leather, he can play in the big leagues right now with anybody. No doubt. And, you know, you talked about him growing up a Padres fan. Tony Gwynn was his hero. Everything to left. Sounds a lot like Tony Gwynn. The 5.5 hole. Exactly. Jeff Blum at the plate. The new stadium here, Petco Park, is actually, the address is 19 Tony Gwynn Way. I think it's a real nice touch. Yeah, when you get a lot of hits in the big leagues, they can at least name a street after you, don't you think? Is that where we got Grant Park in Chicago? 0-1 the count to Blum. Make it 1-1 now. Blum was in the game yesterday. Vinny Castillo was out, we are told, with a migraine yesterday. Was good to go today, but Blum is playing well enough. Bruce Bochy says let's keep going. And you know what? Bruce Bochy is the type of manager that he wants to get some at-bats for his bench players. And if they're hot, he'll stick them in there for 4 or 5 days. And the thing about Vinny Castillo, I mean, here's a guy, Mark, with 316 career home runs. But as a Padre this year, he's got just 1 in 142 at-bats. Yeah, Vinny's struggling at the plate. He doesn't have much pop in his bat. And, you know, you talk to Vinny, he says, just keep on grinding. Maybe it'll turn for him. Defensively, though, at third, he can catch the baseball.
Jeff Blum milks the count to 3-1. You've got the pitcher on deck. Now, Sidney Ponson, you know, one thing I think he's always going to have to live down, Mark, off the field, he had been a mess in Baltimore. On the field, he had been a disappointment. With St. Louis, he has been both a model citizen and an undefeated starting pitcher, so there's not a lot of complaining going on regarding anything.
You know, I think a lot of players in their life, they make choices, they make mistakes, and then they get to a point in their career where they say, you know what, I'm a talented big league pitcher. I'm a talented big league player. I've got to turn it around, and maybe St. Louis will be a good fit for him.
On the ground, first base, Pujols wings it over there to second for one. Back to first. Looked like a convention over there, but they got the double play.
Right off the bat, Albert Pujols knew he was going to go to second base to get that runner, and then busted back to first base. As you mentioned, Josh, everybody's covering. Ponson was doing his job. I don't know if there was any communication like an outfielder going for a fly ball, but the end result, the Cardinals get the double play.
Now, there is a runner at third, but here you've got the pitcher batting, Chanaho Park at Petco Park. And Chanaho airs it out, 0-1.
And Sidney Ponson knows that Chanaho Park, at times, he can make some contact. He throws him a first pitch breaking ball. He just doesn't want to lay a cookie in there and have him drive in that run.
Oh, I mentioned Chanaho Park dealt last July for Phil Nevin, who had only 3 runs batted in the entire month of May for the Rangers, Mark, until his walk-off home run on Thursday night. Nevin needed a change of scenery. Park needed a change of scenery, and both guys were given that opportunity last July. Look out. Bat goes flying. Ponson is out of the inning. This game tied at 1. You're watching Fox Sports, home of the 2006 All-Star Game. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. Folks, tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox returns with Nextel Cup racing from Charlotte. The world's best drivers take the track. Defending champ Jimmy Johnson trying to take home the checkered flag. The Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific in high def, and only on Fox.
Jimmy Johnson, El Cajon guy here in Southern California.
And driving well, so they tell me, Mark Grant.
He is. Started riding dirt bikes, then moved to the car.
Well, Sidney Ponson, it's been all about the wave runner, unfortunately for him, as we're talking about vehicles of different sorts here. 1-1 game, Ponson batting. Give you something from the files of what not to do. As Ponson singles into left center field, the pitcher is now 3 for 7 this year. I don't know about you, Mark, if especially if your home country has knighted you. One thing you might not want to do is operate your wave runner recklessly on a public beach. And do not, and I cannot overstate the importance of this next one, do not punch out a justice of the peace on a public beach when he accosts you about your wave runner.
Well, if your name is Sir Sidney, you should have a wave runner that has like a limo driver to take you around, don't you think?
You know, the luster came off the whole knighthood thing somewhat when that all went down. Eckstein takes outside. But again, with Sidney Ponson, all these off-field incidents, all you can do if you're Sidney Ponson is tell people that you've turned the page, that you're a new guy, and then prove that you are.
And maybe being on a team like St. Louis can help. You know, Tony La Russa, a great mentor, counselor, manager.
Hit and run. Look at that. Ponson is going to rumble around second. He's thinking about it. And now there he goes. Third base sliding in there. Second base in there. And if Ponson's okay, that works out well for the Cardinals. They say he who hesitates is lost, and Ponson was almost stranded there near third base.
A perfectly executed hit and run by David Eckstein. He's a contact guy. Ponson, was he looking at the baseball? I think he was, towards right field rather than picking up the third base coach, Jose Oquendo, for the Cardinals. And on the throw to third base, David Eckstein, being a heads-up guy, is safely into second.
That was some kind of adventure on the bases here for Sidney Ponson. That was fun watching the big guy get in there to third.
And you know what, Josh, that takes a lot out of a pitcher. Sidney Ponson is not used to really running the bases. You got the adrenaline going. You've got to stop and start, get that big body in motion again. That takes a lot out of you. We'll have to see if that affects him on the mound.
Scott Spiezio, the batter. Spiezio with an 8-game hitting streak, and what a renaissance season he's had.
He's in better shape. It looks like he's dropped some LBs, swinging the bat extremely well. Bruce Bochy playing the infield back here early in the ball game. They want to get an out. They want to bring the infield in, get a chopper in the making of a big inning. Oh,
that one in, and it hit him. The bases are loaded now for Albert Pujols. Now, Chan-Ho Park, who once memorably gave up 2 grand slams in a single inning, out here on the West Coast for Fernando Tatis. A little better hitter than Fernando Tatis is coming up right now in Pujols.
And Josh, this is where the lines, the concession stand, stopped. Everybody goes to a monitor. Everybody goes to their seat. Nobody's going anywhere right now. This guy is worth the price of admission. This is what everybody wants to see in this great game of baseball. The numbers that this guy's put up with the bases loaded.
You know, believe it or not, the 4 career grand slams, that's the same number as David Eckstein has. Somehow I think Pujols will have more total home runs this year. Now here we go, Park and Pujols. Strike one, says Dale Scott. Those are gaudy numbers. Runners in scoring position. Are you kidding?
And that tells me one thing, that Albert Pujols has such a great command of the strike zone. He knows that all the pressure is on the pitcher. He waits for his one pitch.
Looking the inside maybe, and they got it in there. Pujols pops it right up. Park vacates the mound. First baseman over to put it away. Gonzalez locks it up, and Pujols is out.
He went away early in the count, and then he tied up Albert Pujols with a fastball in. Anytime you have Albert Pujols up at the plate, you jam him and you hear the umpire say infield fly rule, that's a good thing.
Now you saw the catcher Bard shift his entire body towards that inside part of the plate, and Park simply fired it where he was looking.
And he better get it inside, because if he misses over the plate, he's reaching for a new one.
Scott Rowland fouls one. There's the shift by Bard.
And watch the glove of Josh Bard. Chan-Ho Park threading the needle, tying up Albert Pujols nicely.
Oh, he's mortal, apparently.
Absolutely, he can be pitched to.
Rowland takes one in too tight.
But this is where you can't relax. I mean, you know about Scott Rowland, he can hurt you just as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of attention to Pujols, and that's fine. But Rowland's a guy with 5 seasons of triple-digit RBIs.
This 1 through 4 in the order for St. Louis on the 7-game road trip, hitting .363. That puts a lot of pressure on the starting pitcher.
Rowland, opposite field, and down. Base hit. Into the corner it goes. 2 runs are already in. And Jose Oquendo puts up the stop sign. Spiezio was ready to race home with another run. Oquendo said not so fast. Rowland settles for a 2 RBI double. 3-1 Cardinals.
We talked a lot about Albert Pujols, but Scott Rowland also, he knows his limitations. He knows what he can do. And when a pitcher offers him a certain pitch, he knows how to handle it. That was a pretty swing. Josh Bard set up outside. He tries to go backdoor sinker and just throwing the head. He didn't try to pull that baseball. It was all upper body, getting that head of the bat out in the outer half. So Scott Rowland will take that.
Interesting here now, too. Second and third, 1 out. You've got first base open. Juan Encarnacion, though, is a guy who's known to swing at almost anything. See? He pops it. And it's back in the second row. Joe Patini wearing a microphone for us. Let's listen in some Fox sounds of the game.
Get down that line. Come on. Come on, Fees. Come on, Fees.
Roland was thinking third base, I think, figuring that the runner was going to be sent coming around. There might be a play at the plate. He looked up and caught it in time. And again, with first base open, I still think you can go right after Encarnacion. He's only walked a half a dozen times all year.
You're right. You don't have to throw him a strike. And Chan-Ho Park has done a fine job working ahead 0-2. Now this next pitch, I assume, is not going to be anywhere near the plate.
Oh, he got some plate. I mean, you're right. It shouldn't have been, but
I think if he takes that pitch, it's possibly a called ball. But like you said, Josh, he's so aggressive at the plate. He's never seen a pitch he doesn't like.
The Dominican Will Rogers, Juan Encarnacion.
Now Bruce Bochy brings the infield in a little bit with a sinker ball at Park.
Pokes it towards center field. Cameron makes the catch, and he'll fire. Bard bracing, tagging, safe. The ball came loose. The Cardinals get another run.
Sinker ball at Park. Well, they elevated the baseball to the outfield, and Mike Cameron, who's got good speed, makes the catch. Everything's great. Josh Bard tries to block home plate with his foot, and the ball comes loose. Everything was executed well on that play. Credit Scott Spezio. Bard's left foot. Let's concentrate, catch the baseball, try to block the plate, and then all of a sudden the ball pops out. I think he would have been safe anyway. I think his foot caught plate.
I think you're right. So Taguchi, the batter. You always worry about Josh Bard. He's had a tough time staying healthy. Anytime you see a guy rumbling around getting ready to crash into him, but nothing major happened there. And A.J. Przinsky not involved in the play, so
no fights.
Nothing extracurricular. Rip and a miss by Taguchi. Yeah, Bard missed the entire 2004 season with a sports hernia. I guess that's opposed to, I don't know, like a musical theater hernia.
Playing the cello a little bit too hard. But you know, though, a lot of teammates look at their catchers and they say, you know, does the guy block the plate? And, you know, they earn a lot of respect when they do that. I think he did it the right way with his foot. It's a different situation when the guy gets the ball, then he has time to go in the baseline and block it.
Suspensions, by the way, handed down from that whole Barrett versus Przinsky deal that you might have seen on Fox a week ago. In too tight, Taguchi did not swing.
You know, Josh, still one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen in baseball.
What's that?
The Przinsky and Barrett confrontation.
Seemed like Barrett was just taking out some frustration in a big way, you know. He got a 10-game suspension. There's a walk to Taguchi. Przinsky got fined, I guess, just for being A.J. Przinsky, pretty much. I mean,
I look at that footage there, and you're wondering, wow, why did they fine A.J. Przinsky? He was the one who got clocked. He didn't retaliate.
Trouble seems to find A.J. Przinsky, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Molina. One of 3 catching Molinas in the major leagues. And they're all very good defensively. Benji and Jose and now Yadier. Park getting that one by him, 0-2.
That's one thing that Chan-Ho Park has been doing, working with pitching coach Darren Balsley. San Diego's got a heck of a pitching coach. Had a full spring training with Darren. He wanted him to get back to the power pitcher mode, not to nibble so much.
Skipping off the mound. Close play, but they got him. 4-6 fielder's choice will end the inning. 3 runs in the inning. 4-1 Cards. Now the Padres with a 7-1 win yesterday, but the Cardinals have a 4-1 lead right now. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd inning at beautiful Petco Park in San Diego. Top of the order, Dave Roberts up there against Sidney Ponson. Sandy Alderson is the chief executive officer of the San Diego Padres, and obviously a long, rich history in this game. I'm not going to recite your entire resume, Sandy, but suffice to say this is not your first rodeo. You've got to be enjoying how the fans are responding here in San Diego to a team that keeps it interesting.
Well, the team's a little different than it was last year, and the one thing we haven't been is consistent. We've won a lot of games. We've lost a few in a row, but it has been an interesting club, and we've got some youth now. So I think the fans can see that we're starting to build from within.
Taking on a Cardinals team that obviously matched up against your guys in the playoffs last year. You guys got only one home game out of that, unfortunately. Roberts, the ground ball to second. You know a lot of the guys that helped make this Cardinals team go. Tony La Russa, Walt Jocketty with you in Oakland.
Well, I'm not sure it was a matchup last year in the postseason. We were 3 and out, but they do a great job. And I do know a number of the Cardinals staff from Oakland. Of course, they did a great job in Oakland, a great deal of success, and they've duplicated that in St. Louis.
St. Louis, Oakland, and hopefully now, I guess, San Diego, Sandy. Player development is so key, isn't it?
Well, it always is, and with every ball club. And it's easy to say that you're going to develop your own players and build from within, but you actually have to go out and do it. That's the tough part. But we're starting to see some progress here, and we've really tried to emphasize that over the last year or so.
Sandy, how would you compare last offseason and then looking forward to this offseason as far as transactions, as far as the Padres roster is concerned, areas to where you would want to look?
Well, last year going into the offseason, unfortunately, we had 3 of our best players eligible for free agency, and that's a situation you don't really want to be in. This year, it will be a little bit different. We're transitioning at certain positions. As I said, we've got a young player at first base, Adrian Gonzalez, a young player at second normally, Josh Barfield. But we're going to have some flexibility next year.
Chatting with Sandy Alderson. Of course, Sandy was in the Major League Baseball executive offices for a while. And, you know, I think there are some, Sandy, that look at a guy like Albert Pujols. They look at some of the other younger players right now in baseball as Cameron slugs one towards center. And that'll end up as out number 2. But I think with Pujols maybe being a good emblem of this, baseball may be getting a bit of a fresh start. If there is going to be such a thing as a steroid era, it appears that it's in the rearview mirror right now, and people are looking forward positively.
Well, I think that's true to a large extent. Unfortunately, we still, have the situation involving Barry Bonds, even to the point where it's raised questions about other players for whom there should not be questions. But we're starting to come out of that.
That ball drilled by Giles, and it is out in a heartbeat. Home run, Brian Giles. His 5th of the year. And the Padres slice it down to 4-2. Sandy, are you going to give him a raise?
We took care of that in the offseason.
No extension, huh? A couple of weeks ago, Brian Giles drew 5 walks in a ball game. After that, Brian Giles started to be a little bit more aggressive. He's swinging at the first couple pitches. This one, he's all over. And early in the count, you get the fat fastball, have at it. Come out of your shoes. He put it in the Petco porch.
Well, the key thing was that the day that he got those 5 walks, we won the ball game. So walks can be very valuable, but so can home runs.
Josh Bard 2 for 2, as is Brian Giles, by the way. We're chatting with Sandy Alderson, who suddenly is bringing his team some good fortune now. Padres are back to within 4-2. Sandy, I'm looking around at all the development here in downtown San Diego, and I know that you guys have some designs on watching everything kind of grow up around this ballpark.
Well, I think one of the original purposes of building the ballpark in this area was to try and create some impetus for additional downtown development. And of course, I'm not a native San Diegan. Mark has been here a lot longer than I have, but I think there's been tremendous growth in this area as a result of the ballpark.
Sandy, what about more day baseball here at Petco Park? This is a beautiful venue when the sun is shining. It's a little overcast today, but San Diego, sunshine. This place is great when the sun is out.
Well, it's a terrific place for day baseball, but unfortunately, most of our season ticket holders don't appreciate day baseball. And so, we do play day games during the week on getaway days, and occasionally on a special occasion like this with Fox broadcasting, we play a day game on the weekend. But as you know, in different places, people develop a tradition of night or day on the weekend. Maybe one game during the week, but generally speaking, our season ticket holders find it tough to come to all those games.
2-0 the count to Khalil Green. He flied to left in the first inning. Sandy, I want to real quick ask you about, you've got such an interest in international baseball, too. I see you guys are bringing some teams from the Mexican League up here to play as well.
We've got a doubleheader on June 11th. We're going to be playing the Marlins for the first game, and then 2 Mexican League teams, Tijuana and Mexico City, will be playing a game. I think the second time in history that the Mexican League will play a regular season game in the United States.
Growing that Mexico market here into San Diego, that can only help everybody, right?
Yeah, I think that's certainly part of it, but John Moores has a great interest, as do I and the Padres generally, in international baseball, developing the game. And I think this is a consequence of the World Baseball Classic, where Mexican baseball got a shot in the arm as a result of that tournament and the way the Mexico team played.
Runner gets going, 3-2. That ball bashed into center field. 3 consecutive hits now. Taking the turn, going to third is Josh Bard. The tying men are on base. Mark Bellhorn coming up.
Well, there's also been a handful of times when the San Diego Padres have gotten key 2-out hits. Right there, Khalil Green going up the center of the diamond. And once again, extending the inning for Sidney Ponson. His first start off the disabled list. That's a nice slider. Sidney Ponson threw a nice slider. If that pitch is taken, it's probably a ball. With 3-2 count, Khalil Green was protecting. Nice piece of hitting by Khalil.
Who's got the power that a lot of his teammates lack, I think, right now, Mark. The batting average, obviously, has been a disappointment at .220.
It's a compliment to Khalil. He's leading the team in home runs. It's unfortunately not necessarily a good thing for the Padres, but Khalil's certainly shown power from that shortstop position.
9 home runs leads the team. Not everybody has a Pujols, though, right, Sandy? I mean, the 23 for...
Unfortunately, most of us don't.
Mark Bellhorn has had a season or two where the home run totals have floated up there. 27 for the Cubs in 2002. The son of a veterinarian, so maybe a good thing that he's playing his home games now at Petco. Chatting with Sandy Alderson for the rest of the inning here, an inning that suddenly is going well for the Padres. Sandy, I mean, in general, things are where you think they should be for this franchise right now? You're always looking to improve some things, right?
Oh, sure. And we've got shortcomings. We don't have a lot of power, and the pitching is a little thin after some injuries, but guys have performed well. I like the fact that we've started to work some younger players in, and I think you're going to see the impact of our farm system over the next 2 or 3 years as a result of the renewed emphasis in that area. So I think I'm very pleased with where we are now.
We talk about the minor leagues, Sandy. We also talk about homegrown players. You got to be awfully proud of up the middle. Josh Barfield is not playing today, but a nice combination, Khalil Green and Josh Barfield up the middle for San Diego on the infield. Yeah,
nice combination, a young combination, and something we hope we can keep together for some time into the future.
Maybe like a Trammell and Whitaker thing?
Well, you never know. San Diegans love homegrown players.
Bellhorn, an import, will drive one towards right center field. Taguchi cutting over to make the catch, ending our time with the big guy, with the CEO, Sandy Alderson. Sandy, thank you. Great to see you again.
Thanks very much. Probably should have brought that fence in another, 20 feet?
Yeah, thank you, Sandy.
You said it, we didn't. 4-2 at the end of 3.
Take care.
Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. By WebMD, better information, better health. And by new Gillette Fusion, the best shave ever in manual and battery power. Now, the middle third of the ball game is now underway. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Josh Lewin with Mark Grant on Fox this afternoon. Hector Luna almost brushed with that pitch from Chanahoe Park. It is a 4-2 lead for the Cardinals.
8 batters faced last 3rd inning for Chanahoe Park. 3 hits, 3 runs. Trying to find a groove here in the 4th.
Park's first start against St. Louis in September of '01, Mark, back when he was with the Dodgers. What a long, strange trip it's been for Chanahoe between then and now. Green on the outfield grass, close play, got him. Right now we go to Jeannie Zelasco standing by in L.A. for a game break.
Gentlemen, a royal struggle with Mother Nature in Kansas City last night. The Yankees are going to pad the lead early and often. Alex Rodriguez to left and out, a 2-run shot. 4 batters later, Kelly Stinnett to left And out a 3-run shot. His first home run since September 10th, 2005. 8-zip Yanks.
Yes, the Yankees are venting after the embarrassment of the Royals breaking a 13-game losing streak in the Bronx yesterday.
Well, you don't see that too often, and guys come to the ballpark saying that they want to get something done. They're doing just that.
Sidney Ponson not close on that last swing. Ponson, though, singled and scored in the 3rd inning and ran the bases like a madman, Mark Grant.
Starting and stopping that big frame, I'm telling you, that takes a lot out of you.
If the actual base at third base could talk, what would it have said?
Ouch.
Seeing Ponson bearing down on it. Ponson is listed at 250 pounds.
Well, he's hanging tough. Chan-Ho Park is not just throwing him down the middle.
This was earlier where third base was going, oh, please, no. No, please, no.
Please slide. Oh.
Third base can relax. As can first and second. Sidney Ponson now 1 for 2. I tell you what, though, Mark, Cardinal pitchers this year have been swinging the sticks. 7 extra base hits for Cardinal pitchers already.
And that's a plus for Tony La Russa. You know, there's a few good hitters on the Padres staff also, but that's just a plus for any manager. You can hit and run. They handle the stick well as far as sacrificing. Get runners in a scoring position. I think both these pitching staffs, starters, talking about for the Padres and the Cardinals, are very talented when it comes to swinging the bat.
Oh, and few can handle a bat like this guy. This 5'6" bundle of passion named David Eckstein. He's got one of the best walks to strikeouts ratios. Leads the league in hits with 62 of them.
He's just a tough out. He's tough to strike out. He makes contact all the time, and he'll pull his best Luke Appling imitation a lot. He'll foul off about 8-10 pitches. And all the old aches and pains will go to the pitcher.
Nice Luke Appling reference by you. Digging that. Obviously a challenging strike zone. And, you know, here's what you love about Eckstein. What a perfect fit for the great baseball fans in St. Louis. He draws the walk and he's sprinting down to first base.
You love to see that, and it's infectious. And you know what? Kids watch baseball. They look at certain players in the big leagues. I like that.
Gets hit by a lot of pitches, and he'll get hit by a pitch, and instead of staring at the mound, he'll just run on down to first. And, you know, all those hit by pitches, Mark, without any body armor. Barry Bonds is, what, 85 pounds heavier?
Yep.
Several times as muscular. He's wrapped up like a Roman soldier.
I'm not a big fan of that body armor, by the way.
No, I didn't think you were. Pitcher. Chopper to first. And they get the out the short way at second base to retire the side. It stays a 4-2 baseball game in San Diego. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Chevy. Baseball's #1 fan, Chevy, an American revolution. How much money to get up and do that?
I was just going to ask you, have you ever done anything like that, or would you do anything like that?
Never have, never will.
I'm right there with you,
But
partner.
thanks for asking. Sidney Ponson will deal here in the bottom of the 4th. Adrian Gonzalez, a native San Diegan, takes in a 4-2 baseball game. The Cardinals on top. Sidney Ponson off the DL. Now, he was hurt a little bit in that bottom of the 1st inning. Had a decent second, gave up a home run in the 3rd inning. But here it is, 4-2. His team is on top. And moments ago, we had a chance to talk to Tony La Russa, Cardinals manager, about how Ponson is coming along. Tony, Sidney Ponson returns, and not only is he pitching okay, but boy, he's swinging a stick and running the bases for you.
Well, National League, anytime that you can get your pitcher to help your offense really improves your chance. So the most important thing he's got to do is keep shutting them down. But it's good to get him back.
Are you happy with his performance this afternoon, Tony, coming off the DL? I know he's on a kind of a pitch count, 75 to 80 pitches. What have you seen so far this afternoon?
Well, I think, he's gotten hurt first pitch to 3 and 4. That's how they've gotten their 2 runs. But other than that, I think he's throwing the ball well. Very impressive.
Good. Tony, thank you for your time. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Ponzone right back here to Jeff Blum. And the count 0-2.
Yeah, Tony La Russa, he mentioned 3 and 4. He was referring to Brian Giles and Josh Bard in that position, 3 and 4. 4 for 4. All those hits have been on the first pitch.
Blum on 0-2. Nails it, but right at Taguchi, who will take a seat before getting it back in. 2 down.
He nearly took a seat out there. You're right. That might have been a knuckleball off the bat of Jeff Blum. He squares up on it nicely. Taguchi out there in place of Jimmy Edmonds, who has a lower abdominal infection today. You can see him trying to battle that ball to center field. I have reason to believe that ball was a knuckleball, Josh.
Taguchi hanging in there, though. Here's Chanahoe Park. Almost toppled right out of the box.
Hey, if it hurts, don't swing, huh? You kind of like that, though. But there's a flip side, though. You see some guys get hurt that way. Maybe strain an oblique or something like that if they're not used to swinging that hard all the time. Grip it and rip it. I feel a breaking ball here.
Oh, come on. That's incredible. The bat went one way, the ball went the other. The bat was foul, the ball was fair, and Chanahoe Park, well, he doesn't even crack a smile. Come on, Chanahoe.
That's almost like a hit and run swing. The bat leaving his hands and placed perfectly. And would you believe me, Josh Lewin, if I said that Chanahoe Park works on that day in and day out in the batting cages here in San Diego?
I wouldn't believe you.
Because it's not true. Now the top of the order for San Diego.
Yeah, Dave Roberts, who had a home run yesterday. Well, Dave Roberts has proven to be a useful component in this San Diego lineup. But he knows full well that his strength is not from the grip and rip. He's got to get on base and use those legs. He's 15 out of 16 stealing bases.
There's been a handful of times to where he works the count also. He'll see 8-10 pitches, foul pitches back, get that pitcher to work and get that pitch count up.
Roberts has said that his career turned around when he, quote, sublimated his ego. Stopped trying to hit 15 home runs and just started worrying about getting on base. Home runs are now an accident, he says, but he ran into that accident right off the bat yesterday, first inning.
It was a pitch down and in also. And there are times when Dave Roberts will take that one free swing during the at-bat and put a charge into one, but you're right. He likes to try to spray the ball, maybe drag bunt, the sneak attack down the third base line.
Dave Roberts earlier this year. Let's show Michael Barrett again. We've already talked about Barrett and A.J. Przinsky. This was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there was a situation in Chicago where Dave Roberts stole a base. There wasn't that big of a lead. It was 7-3 in the middle of the ball game. Michael Barrett took exception to it. When Dave Roberts scored, he kind of popped off to Dave Roberts.
Of course, Michael Barrett and A.J. Przinsky, this got a lot more play nationally. Pam! Roberts waves and misses, and Sidney Ponzone is out of the inning. Still 4-2 on Fox. Pujols coming up. Always fun to look back. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch in June of 1997. Among the many things you would have found in there, the players to watch semifinal matchups in the Class 4A. I mean, I know Parkway West is always strong, but Albert Pujols at Fort Osage over out by Kansas City. Who knew? 471, 11 home runs, yada, yada. There's a lot of high school kids putting up numbers like that, but Albert Pujols, a 13th round pick of the Cardinals a little bit after that, is now tearing up the major leagues.
It's unbelievable. We could do a whole show on talking about the draft and how it's an inexact science.
Now, the Cardinals really, I think, more than any other team have proven that, Mark. Give the Cardinals credit for the fact that they're diamonds in the rough. In the major leagues right now, there are a full 12 players drafted by the Cardinals after the 20th round. Now, Pujols missed that cut. He was taken in the 13th round, but I mean that is really mining down deep. Every team had a chance to grab Albert Pujols, and they had a chance to do it 12 times. The Cardinals took a flyer on him in the 13th round.
And we saw his position after Albert Pujols. There was SS for a shortstop. You know you're a great athlete when you put up those kind of numbers when you play the middle infield, especially the shortstop position.
That ball into left center. Cameron on the move. Now we take you back lovingly to the Fort Osage High School yearbook. Where is he? Where is he?
Oh, I love this stuff. Does he have the ruffle shirt on?
No, not quite. But
looks like the bowling shirt.
Yeah. That's got Prom King written all over it, doesn't it? Roland takes, and you know, when the Cardinals did draft him in the 13th round, he told them that he was worth a lot more of a signing bonus than they offered him. So he went to play summer league ball in Kansas. He dominated there. Sure enough, the Cardinals upped the ante. He's never been hurting for confidence, is Albert Pujols.
And that's one big thing in any ball player, confidence at an early age. And some guys just mature a little later. Some guys peak early.
Chanaho Parker reached base on something like that. Is going to retire Scott Rowland. Juan Encarnacion coming up. Time now for the AboDart in-game box score, showing you that Pujols has been kept in check today.
Anytime you keep him in the ballpark, if there's a close ball game like today, 2 runs, the base is open, Bruce Bochy will pitch accordingly to Pujols.
Pujols made the jump from Single-A to the major leagues. Tony La Russa reminds us, Mark, that no one expected Mark McGwire to make the Oakland A's in 1987. They jumped him up. And in fact, if you check the 1987 Major League All-Star ballot, if you can find one available on eBay or something, the first baseman representing Oakland on that ballot was Rob Nelson.
Rob Nelson, former Padre, Oakland A. You're absolutely right. Good call.
Not too many car keys punching that hole out of the card, I don't believe, but
big power left-handed hitting first baseman.
Pujols has gone on to become the first player ever to start his career with 5 straight seasons of 30 homers and 100 runs batted in. He could bank all that by the All-Star break here in season number 6. I mean, seriously, right now he's got 23 home runs. He's got 58 runs batted in.
And you know the phrase, if he stays healthy. And he stayed healthy his whole big league career up until this point. Seems like he just keeps getting better and better, and the consistent numbers are the thing that really amaze me.
Oh, that's
sophomore jinx? No.
A desire to keep improving too, even though he's already the best all-around player in the game probably. Encarnacion floats it to right center. Cameron tearing after it, won't get it. It bounces up against the wall. Encarnacion passing second, trying for 3. Here comes the throw. Safe. Rowland couldn't, or rather Blum couldn't hold the ball. Encarnacion is in there. That's 4 triples already for Juan Encarnacion.
Encarnacion squares up on this one nicely. It's 4-0-2 to the right center field gap here. And the big key here, the play's in front of him. He doesn't need any help from Jose Oquendo. If Jeff Blum hangs onto the baseball, who knows? It's very, very close at third base. But the good relay on the fly. Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, was in position. He was in great position to make that call. Great hustle by Encarnacion.
Now so Taguchi to the plate with 2 down. You know, Encarnacion, Mark, had a brutal April, but he's responded with a May that has him back to where the stats represent what he can do.
That goes to show you something, him taking the ball the other way. A lot of guys, when they struggle, they try to get pull happy.
That ball pulled, but right to Blum. Short hops it and throws out to Gucci to end a mild threat here in the top of the 5th. 2, 3, 4 in the order coming for San Diego now. It is a 4-2 game on Fox. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Avodart. Ask your doctor today if Avodart is right for you. By the makers of Dr. Scholl's Dual Action Freeze Away Wart Remover. And by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Mike Cameron swings and fouls one. We are underway in the bottom of the 5th inning. Josh Lewin with Mark Grant today on Fox. In the truth department, we can't really bill this as sunny San Diego today. It is overcast San Diego. I predict the sun will shine in this city again.
It's absolutely beautiful. We are really, really blessed to have this kind of weather. Even when it's overcast, it's nice though, you know. You can still wear a t-shirt and feel comfortable. Seems to be a little bit more humid today though, I think.
Sidney Ponson, who's from Aruba, by the way, tropical paradise. Immortalized in the Beach Boys song from that movie Cocktail. And Mike Cameron rung up here. Sidney Ponson gets him. That according to Dale Scott.
Well, Sidney Ponson has been throwing that sinker. He's been throwing the slider. This looks like a backdoor sinker and a pretty good pitch from Ponson. Comes back and gets the outer half of the plate. Looks like a knee-high sinker to Mike Cameron.
That one down too low to Brian Giles. Here's a tough part of the order for the Padres right now, at least for today. Giles 2 for 2 with a home run. Bard on deck 2 for 2 with a double.
And all those hits, Josh, have come on the first pitch. Brian Giles working the count here. So he answers back with the changeup. If a hitter is being aggressive early in the count, you want to pull the string a little bit. He missed with the first pitch, but now evens the count at 1.
Take you back to the 3rd inning. Be careful not to get too much of the plate to Giles, huh?
That was right down the middle of the plate. And, you know, it really wasn't a swing that was an overswing. He just got a fat pitch. There's 5 from third base coach Glenn Hoffman. You can see he's being real careful with him here. A lot of off-speed pitches.
Yeah. And the pitch count reasonable for Ponson right now. But again, on a short leash today, coming off the DL.
Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, said 75 to 80 pitches for Sir Sidney.
Launch towards right. Two down, 5th inning. Bard coming up next. We'll take a quick look now at the AutoZone strike zone for this afternoon. Ponson and Park matching up. One guy almost traded for Phil Nevin. The other guy actually traded for Phil Nevin. And the percentage of strikes, I think you'd say, for Ponson, that bodes well.
Not bad at all. I'm impressed with the way Sidney Ponson is throwing this afternoon. He had a couple of good bullpen sessions prior to this start, absolutely pain-free, so that's a good sign for the Cardinals. Especially with Chris Carpenter missing his last start.
Bard sends it to left field. And Spezio locks it up to end the inning. We are at the end of 5 here at Petco Park in San Diego. Cardinals by 2. Chan-Ho Park begins the 6th inning, dealing up and in here to Yadier Molina. The Cardinals have a 4-2 lead, the byproduct of a 3-run 3rd inning. Chan-Ho Park allowed a triple to Juan Encarnacion last inning. But otherwise, what you're seeing right here, that last pitch, I think, pretty representative of what Chan-Ho's been doing most of the day.
You know, he still has a lot of movement on his pitches. Occasionally, he will get it up in the strike zone. He's got to be careful.
Molina pops one up. Bard will give it a look.
And you could tell by that last breaking ball, he had Molina way out in front, so still effective with the slider also. That's where he leans out in front. That's all arms. His hands started to drift a little bit towards the pitcher's mound. And when a hitter does that, it has a tendency to take out a lot of the power out of their swing.
And the bat right out of the hands of Molina, who's not having a good day. 1 down, 6th inning. Time for our Pepsi fan cam here in San Diego. Had a sold-out house here yesterday, 40,000, probably about 30,000 here today. What a great venue for baseball, huh?
Oh, there's the beach out there in right center field, and then beyond the working on their sandcastles, they got the beanies out. You know, it's 70 degrees here. That's pretty chilly for some Southern Californians coming from the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know, 40 degrees for me is awesome.
There you go.
Not a lot of beach in Joliet.
No.
Back where you're from, no.
No, the closest beach is probably the Oak Street Beach up in Chicago.
No, you can't go wrong there, though.
Great place for kids, and then beyond that is the grass area, the park at the park.
Does Chan-Ho Park ever go to Park at the Park?
That'd be a great promotion, wouldn't it?
Park at the Park in
Exactly.
the park. Only question, of course, where would he park? That is down and outside the Luna.
At the parkade.
Oh, this really is a fun place to watch a ball game, no doubt about it. Once they get a football stadium here, everything's good. 2-2 the count to Luna. Chan-Ho Park, last time out, 10 runs allowed in 5 1/3 up in Seattle.
By the way, speaking of football,
Yeah.
I heard you this offseason. You're great. Do a great job with the
thank you.
Chargers.
Great gig. What a fun thing. It's like, you know, people underrate San Diego as a sports town. I really feel that. You know, people think it's all the, you know, we come back and show the waves rolling in. We show the hang glider. That's all good.
Sure.
But good baseball town, good football town. Park fielding his position. Chargers punter Mike Cyphers is just up in the booth. The Rams will play the Chargers this year, as a matter of fact. And a game that you will see only here on Fox.
You know, when I got the word that I was going to work with you this ball game, Josh, I thought right off the bat you would have no problem working with me being a bald guy because you work with another bald guy on radio with the Chargers, Hank Bauer.
I'm still waiting for a non-bald broadcaster here in San Diego. Jason Marquis is going to pinch hit. And as we kind of figured, Sidney Ponson at the 75 pitch mark would be asked to leave no matter what was going on, even if it was 4-0 St. Louis right now. They're easing him back in. And this is going to be a one and done for Marquis. They've got Wainwright working in the bullpen. He's set to come on and actually pitch. Marquis, a guy that handles the bat very well.
Yeah, so Tony La Russa doesn't have to burn one of his bench players.
Right, exactly. Marquis will ground out. So Ponson's day is officially done. He is on line for a victory at this point. 4-2. Now the Padres now have gotten to the bullpen of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals lead the game 4-2, but Sidney Ponson at the 75 pitch mark is done. And Adam Wainwright takes over now. Sparkling ERA of $1.99 for Mr. Wainwright.
This guy has been stellar out of the bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals. Starter mostly in his minor league career, but making some hay out of the bullpen. And you know what? 6th inning guy, 7th inning guy for Tony La Russa. That's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, no doubt you're going to be used. And the Cardinals, we talked about it really right off the jump today, that the one constant for the Cardinals more than anything else over the last few years has been that bullpen.
That's what wins you championships. Your bench guys, your bullpen, and when you've got a 3.13 ERA, collectively, that's a great bullpen.
Khalil Green down on strikes. Nice way to get going for Wainwright.
That looked like the 12-6 curveball from Wainwright. He also has a fastball and a changeup.
Bellhorn, the batter. Now Sidney Ponson with the 5 innings of work. That is enough to merit a victory if indeed the Cardinals can keep on winning here. If you're just joining us, the Cardinals did most of their damage in the 3rd inning. Scott Rowland, a big opposite field double. That is after Pujols popped out with the bases loaded, nobody out.
But we're going to look back at that situation, the bases loaded with Pujols. Everybody's anticipating an extra base hit, possibly even a grand slam. That could be the difference in this game. One pitch.
Bellhorn sends it deep to left field. At the track, at the wall, it's going to go. Home run. Opposite field damage for the Padres now, and it's a 4-3 game.
You know, with that big right center field alley out there at 402, I think some of the left-handed hitters that come to Petco Park might be thinking, you know what, if I take it the other way, I've got a chance. Adrian Gonzalez last night, Mark Bellhorn now.
We mentioned Bellhorn's had as many as 27 home runs in a season. That's his third as a Padre, and now in the thickening haze from the celebratory smoke, Adrian Gonzalez up there. Adrian Gonzalez actually asked the home plate umpire Dale Scott to wait a little bit. I think wanting to make sure that that batter's background didn't include all the smoke.
I was going to say either that or a Rolling Stones concert. And they did have one of those here last year in November.
They did. Breaking ball is fouled.
You know, Adrian Gonzalez in spring training, there was talk about him going to AAA and getting 400 or 500 at bats, but Ryan Klesko then came up hurt, so that gave Adrian Gonzalez a chance to wear a Padre uniform opening day.
Reaching for it and fouls it. You know, last year San Diego had kind of a first base merry-go-round. You had Xavier Nady, you had Mark Sweeney, Robert Fick, etc. This year, yeah, with Klesko out until July, if there's going to be any semblance of order at that position, Gonzalez is probably the man they want there.
As I mentioned earlier, Josh, defensively right now, he reminds me a lot of Wally Joyner, the former first baseman of the San Diego Padres, California Angels. He's just so smooth with the glove.
Foul to here, and tagged out by Molina. 2 down. Folks, Fox Saturday Baseball coming back at you next week. 3 Central, 1 Pacific. You'll see either the Giants up against the Mets. You might see the Phillies taking on the red-hot Dodgers, or the Cubs and the Cardinals. What a great rivalry that you know all about, Mr. Grant, being from Joliet, Illinois. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. That ball pounded foul by Blum.
No matter how bad those teams are doing, Cubs, Cardinals, it's always a great matchup. In St. Louis, in Chicago, you're absolutely right.
Boy, and right, you know, I always wonder about the precise line of demarcation on Interstate 55 or on 57. You know, where does the state of Illinois get divided? Blum, former White Sox, delivers right field into second base. Now he's got a 2-out double. Chanahoe Park, the scheduled hitter, but right now with the tying man at second base, I think Bruce Bochy, and he will send up a pinch hitter.
Jeff Blum got an off-speed pitch. He waited back nicely. When a righty throws the big looping breaking ball to the lefty, it's almost like a 2-part swing. Jeff took that stride, held it for a second, and then released those hands. If he elevates that ball, there's a good chance of going out of the ballpark. He hit it well.
So that's it for Chanahoe Park. 1 lefty pinch hitter available, and here he is.
Paul McAnulty. This guy's proved himself in the minor leagues. Each level that he has gone to, he's hit. And when he was first called up last year, a lot of people compared him to John Kruk, a former Friar, with his build and his looks.
I can see that a little bit. Padres have tried to grow their own first baseman for a while, I guess, Mark. I mean, from Mike Ivey to Gene Richards, Broderick Perkins, John Kruk you mentioned, and now they've been importing first basemen. They've imported some real good ones in the past, McCovey and Garvey and McGriff. But to develop one, I think would be something they'd be very proud of.
Well, Sandy Alderson talked about that earlier, about homegrown shortstop and second baseman, Khalil Green, Josh Barfield. But to have a first baseman, teams are built up the middle. It'd be nice to have somebody over there at first base for a long, long time who's a homegrown Padre.
And if it's Gonzalez, even though he's not homegrown, he's from San Diego,
exactly.
So partial credit at least. McAnulty rips, tips it foul, 2-2.
Good hack, 2-1. That's almost like the free swing where you get that ball in a zone where you want to take a rip at it. And it looks like it's just above the letters. So maybe Paul a little bit too anxious on that last swing.
These Padres, I think, by and large, still very offensively challenged, though, Mark. Coming into today's game, no Padre among the top 50 run scorers in the National League. No one in the top 70 in batting average.
Yeah, they have to string together a lot of hits. As we mentioned earlier, not a lot of pop and line. Once in a while, a guy will run into one for a home run. They have to string together a lot of hits to produce some runs.
Rip didn't get it. McAnulty down on strikes, and it stays 4-3. You're watching Fox Sports, home of the All-Star Game. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. Walt Jocketty in charge of the Cardinals. You know, fresh out of college about 30 years ago, Mark, he went to work for the AAA Iowa Oaks team as a front office jack of all trades. He befriended a utility man, one of the Oaks' most outgoing players, a guy named Tony La Russa. La Russa recommended Jocketty for a farm director's job in Oakland. La Russa having played in Oakland, Jocketty goes there, does a great job, works his way up the front office ladder, and ends up working with La Russa again, coming in as the Oakland manager, now years later, together again in St. Louis.
You know what the moral of that story is? Be nice to all the players, even the utility players and the superstars.
Yeah, it's a great point. You never know who can help you later, right?
That's right.
Scott Cassidy is on the mound, taking over for Chanahoe Park, a 4-3 lead for the Cardinals. And David Eckstein, who always by hook or by crook seems to find his way on base, opens up here with a 1-1 count.
Josh, we always talk about pitchers and holds in the big leagues. Well, this is somewhat of a hold situation for Scott Cassidy. He needs to hold the Cardinals to 4 runs. He's got a fastball, a good one when he locates it. He also throws a slider and a changeup out of the Padre bullpen.
Spots it on the outside corner, 1-2.
That's his bread and butter. Darren Balsley talks a lot about location. Any pitcher, you talk about the great ones or guys just coming up to the big leagues. They have to have that location to be successful.
Eckstein has already been on base twice today. He has run the count full. Almost impossible to strike out this guy. Once every 18 at bats. That is second best in the National League. As you look at Flores getting ready now. Watch him run on a walk. Now, a couple of years ago, Sports Illustrated polled major leaguers, Mark. They asked who gets the most out of the least amount of talent. And the runaway winner to that poll question, 62%, was David Eckstein.
I would have said that. You know, he's a great model of hard work. He's a good guy in the clubhouse.
One of the other great life lessons, I think. He says he got it from his dad. Always step on the field like you own it. Maybe you can't actually be 6'5", but you can act like you're 6'5".
Absolutely. And trying to convince yourself, you're absolutely right. And you know what? Just taking advantage of the situation, convincing yourself in that mode. It might be your last game. You never know. So you might as well make the most of it.
0-1 to Spezio is dumped down too low. Eckstein is listed at 5'7". Although he cops to being closer to 5'6". You've got Aaron Miles on this team too. He's listed at 5'8". Eckstein, a guy who will run occasionally, is chased back to the bag at first. Yes, putting the short into shortstop. Eckstein and Miles. Now, so many people told David Eckstein, Mark, that he'd never make it in baseball. He literally was easy to overlook. But he just keeps grinding it out. What a useful component he has been for some very good teams.
I just think hustle and just putting the ball in play and knowing the strike zone also. You mentioned about him knowing the strike zone and making contact. You can do so many things with that.
Hit and run. only play will be to first. Scott Spezio is out. Mark Bellhorn made sure that ball didn't get into right center. Had it gotten there, it would have been first and third, and nobody out.
It's the perfect situation to get dirty. The runner is in motion. You've got to do everything you can. The runner's in motion. The defenders are in motion. And Spezio did all he could. He hit the ball on the screws, it looked like. And that's how you stay out of the double play. And Josh, with first base open, you want to take a guess what the Padres might do here?
Well, I mean, there are these burgeoning Pujols and Bonds comparisons, so we might as well predict 4 wide ones here, right? And here they come. That is a mark of respect, to be sure.
And it's just good baseball. You don't want to let this guy beat you, get 2 more runs on the board. You want to walk him. You set up the double play with 1 out and take your chances. And this doesn't say anything bad about Scott Rowland, obviously, because we know what he could do also.
The top 2 spots in the order have been producing. Pujols has been cleaning up. He has 58 runs batted in. But if Pujols doesn't get to swing, Scott Rowland can get it done too. Now here's Pujols early today. And we take you to the 3rd with the bases loaded, nobody out. Chan-Ho Park winning out.
That could very well be the pitch of the day. Off the end of the bat, center field for the out. They're doing a nice job keeping Albert Pujols quiet.
Outside corner to Scott Rowland. Cassidy pitched carefully to Eckstein. Eckstein had a home run earlier against Cassidy. Man, attacking Rowland though here, 0-2. Rowland asking Dale Scott how confident he was that was a strike. Dale Scott says pretty confident.
Watch the glove of Josh Bard. That ball maybe off the plate a little bit.
Trying to go in there again. 1-2 the count.
I like it when a guy doubles up against the guy, because a lot of hitters will guess, okay, he came inside, now he's going to go away on me. They start leaning that way, and then bang, they surprise you with that fastball. He didn't want to throw a strike though at that point.
Well, Rowland came through with a 2-strike double in the 3rd inning.
This is a pitch with a purpose. Look at Josh Bard into the old Bill Dickey stance from the New York Yankee days, huh? I want that pitch up around the letters, and he answered.
Oh, you're right. He put it right where the catcher asked for it. That's not where Bard was asking for it, but that's where it went. 2-2.
Here's the one. Get it up there, and you're right. He hits it, and Scott Rowland can't get that top hand on top of it. He fouls it back.
And the Padres out hitting the Cardinals, but trailing 4-3. Rowland out of there. All right, now the intentional walk to Pujols looks like the right move, as Rowland could not connect.
And it looked like by that swing of Scott Rowland, he may have been guessing something off speed. It looked like it was a upper half of the body's type swing. Either that, or he was trying to inside out the ball, go the other way, protecting with 2 strikes.
Encarnacion, a single, a triple, and a sac fly. Now, this is a guy that has some power that sneaks up on you. Juan Encarnacion.
Well, everything Bruce Bochy's done this inning has paid off so far. But don't shut your toolbox here. Like you said, Encarnacion can hurt you. This inning revolves around the intentional walk, putting the force on every base. Let's see if Scott Cassidy can answer.
Rushing the outside corner, he gets ahead 0-2.
When Scott Cassidy is going well, he can close his eyes and dot that outside part of the plate with the best of them. He had a little blip on the radar screen about 3 outings in a row where he gave up a couple runs. Seems like he has found his groove again, though.
Encarnacion is down on strikes. The Padres coming up after the 7th inning stretch. 4-3, our score on Fox. Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Flomax and by GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade. Now, Scott Cassidy did some fancy stepping there to get out of a potential issue in the top of the 7th. Now, Randy Flores takes over for the Cardinals on the mound. He's got to go after the top of the Padres order here. The Cardinals' new pitcher, following Wainwright and Ponson, is Flores. Roberts greets him with a base hit to center field. Any Red Sox fans out there will know what can happen when Roberts' team is down 4-3 and Roberts is on first base. The Red Sox got to the World Series against the Cardinals because of what Roberts did in the ALCS from first base in a 4-3 game against the Yankees.
And Flores out there with this situation in the 7th inning. 2 out of the 3 hitters lefties. Roberts, who just singled. You got Cameron, and then Giles, the lefty, on deck.
Infield, a double play depth against Cameron, who's 0 for 3 today. Roberts goes. A bit of a delay. And the throw looked like somebody missed a sign right there. Roberts is out by a mile. Only the 2nd time he's been caught stealing all year.
You know, he left way late. Flores nearly had his foot planted towards home plate before Dave Roberts took off to second base. And a great throw by Molina. Even though that throw is on the shortstop side of second base, still in plenty of time to get Roberts.
If that's not a missed sign, it's an inexplicably very late jump.
I think he may have been caught wondering about the move of Flores. And Molina just adds to that 43% of thrown out runners at second base.
Oh, Cameron nails one foul. There was a fan walking right behind the home plate. Hopefully that young fan is okay. Look at this. There's a net there, but the net went back and the fan went down. The fan appears to be okay. They're looking at him right now. Cameron lofting it to right center. And suddenly 2 away here in the 7th inning. Still a 4-3 game. Brian Giles already has a home run. Looked like he was trying for another right there. They're taking a look at that young fan right now, Mark. I think he's just dazed. It looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, you know what? You see everything in baseball, but my gosh, you talk about bad timing. Somebody just trying to go down to their seats and enjoy a big league ball game, and then a ball is fouled back on the screen and it hits him because of the screen giving. Well, that's a good sign. He's talking to somebody and he can respond. Hopefully he's okay.
Giles, another big cut, but dribbles a foul ball. 2-2 here. Giles has also had a single besides a home run today. As you said earlier, Mark, this is a guy that can find his way on base with a walk as well.
Absolutely. He's got good command of the strike zone. And depending on the count, 2-2, Brian Giles, he will think left field. Flores does a nice job of trying to tie him up with the fastball in. He's got a good fastball, a breaking ball down and away to lefties.
Slowly hit towards second base, and Luna will gobble it up. The inning is over. That leadoff single from Roberts did not blossom. It stays 4-3 St. Louis. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Burger King, reminding you to have it your way. Beautiful San Diego, California. It's the Padres and the Cardinals playing game 2 of a series. Yesterday, a 7-1 win for San Diego. The Cardinals up today 4-3. Taguchi, Molina, and Luna are due here in the 8th inning. Scott Cassidy continues on the mound. On in relief of Chanahoe Park.
You know, it amazes me about these players that come over from the Pacific Rim like So Taguchi. You got to play over there 9 years before you become a free agent, and yet they come over to the United States and still have great years like Ichiro.
There's Taguchi zapping one in the left field corner. Roberts will have to dig it out of there. Taguchi easily to second base, starting things off in the top of the 8th inning. Mark, let's take a look at the Flomax game summary for the fans that are just joining us right now. Even though the Padres are out hitting the Cardinals 10-7 at this point. Big hit for Scott Rowland after they had gotten Pujols to pop out with the bases loaded.
And the big crooked number in that 3rd inning for the Redbirds, 3 in the 3rd. That's when Chanahoe Park faced 8 hitters in that inning.
Scott Rowland getting it done opposite field against Chanahoe Park.
Come on, speed, come on, speed.
Molina showing bunt, taking a strike.
Well, Jose Oquendo getting a lot of signs from the dugout. He could probably yell him to Molina. He's so close down in the batter's box there. But the thing here, Tony La Russa, you never know. He could pull back. He could swing away. Take it off. He's showing early.
Bounces it to the pitcher Cassidy. Had a thought to go to 3rd. Instead, short hops it to 1st. Dug out of there by Bellhorn for the out. Right now, here's Jeannie Zelasco. Time for another game break in L.A.
Well, Josh, I know you were wondering about this. Alex Rodriguez last multi-home run game, June 8th of last year. Okay, he's got 2 today. 2nd home run of the game, 13th on the year, and made it 9-2 Yankees at that point. And they just continue to pour it on. It is 15-4 as we sit top of the 7th.
I was wondering about that. Holy shnikes, 15-4? The Yankees are back after a little day off yesterday, losing to the Royals at home. Boy, you feel for the Royals and their fans right now, huh?
Oh, it's unbelievable. You talk about true fans who've been sticking with the Royals all those years. We're not even into June.
Infield in for the Padres here. Luna takes down and outside.
This is where the sinker ball comes into play for Scott Cassidy. He throws a 4-seamer a lot, but occasionally he'll get a little bit of a run on that pitch. The ideal thing here is a one-hopper at one of the infields to freeze that runner at 3rd base. Squeeze thinking. Tony La Russa will squeeze too.
Yes, he will, and even with the infield in,
this
right?
might be a good opportunity, but you know, Bruce Bochy smelling that also.
No sign of it here. Luna takes. If there's something clever to be done on a baseball field, Tony La Russa might be your guy to put it into operation.
How about a pitch out here just for the heck of it?
Yeah, and if you go on and end up walking Luna, that's not a tragedy either, right?
Sure.
White in there at the knees instead, 1-2.
Well, he is pounding that strike zone away to Luna.
Tony La Russa, who has more wins than any active manager in baseball today. That one's a little up, a little outside. 2-2.
We know a lot about Tony La Russa, how prepared he is with his coaches. On the other side in San Diego, Bruce Bochy very big on video. A lot of meetings with his coaches going over tendencies that Tony La Russa might try to pull on the Padres.
Whip and a miss. He didn't get it. Cassidy strikes out Luna. You know, we were talking earlier about the AL Central, Mark. There is a renaissance of sorts brewing in Detroit. 34-14. Are you kidding?
That's reminiscent of the '84 year when they won the World Series. Remember that 35-5 start for the Tigers?
Yeah, they're not far off from that right here. 34-14. And in first place, they got the best record in baseball right now. Meantime, back here in San Diego, of course, the Padres and Tigers met in that '84 World Series. There's going to be a pitching change now. Runner at third, 2 down. We'll tell you about the new pitcher in just a moment. Alan Embry is summoned to face Larry Bigby. Bigby 3 out of 14 lifetime against Embry. So indeed, lefty versus lefty with a runner at third, 2 down. And a 4-3 game.
Well, Alan Embry can still get it up there as far as velocity. 94 to 95 on the fastball. He's around the plate. He had a little blip on the radar screen there early in the season. Lefties are hitting 333 off the left-hander.
Looking to get it outside. Bigby was able to hang in and foul it away. He's down 0-2.
And this is the perfect opportunity. Alan Embry to make short work of the hitter here. First batter's face this year for Embry. He's faced 22. He has retired 17.
Breaking ball slipped, it would appear. 1-2 the count. You've got the top of the order on deck, David Eckstein. And the Cardinals, who were held to only 5 hits in the game yesterday, do have 7 this afternoon, but only 1, as you see, with runners in scoring position.
And this is the guy the Padres want. You don't want to face Eckstein, the good contact hitter on deck.
Bigby was almost knocked down, and Bard had to kind of reach back for that ball.
The last couple pitches, Alan Embry kind of overthrown a little bit. You mentioned the breaking ball, Josh. That was way up and out of the zone. So catcher, sure, you have to call pitches, you have to receive pitches, but part pitching coach also maybe detected something in the delivery of Alan Embry.
Got him. More clutch pitching out of that Padres bullpen. San Diego keeps it within 1 run. Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by the makers of Maximum Strength Zantac. For heartburn, why wait? Zantac's fast. By Bank of America. Keep the change, only from Bank of America, the easy way to help you save. And by Avis, where we try harder to make your trip better. Cardinal fans have made it here to San Diego. Their team is up 4-3 this afternoon. Now the Padres have the middle third of the order batting against, well, for now anyway, lefty Randy Flores. Looper getting ready in the bullpen for the Cardinals right now. At first it is Josh Bard, who is 2 of 3.
So Josh Bard would be turned around to the right side, and this might be the chance for San Diego to tie or go ahead in this ball game.
That one is on the outside edge. And trying to get it to the closer, Jason Isringhausen. The Cardinals have stranded 8 today. They've had a chance to run away in this game. They haven't done it. Josh Bard will be followed by Khalil Green, who leads the team in home runs with 9. The Cardinals bullpen, however, leads the National League in ERA. Bard, right field. Encarnacion back at the track, backpedaling to make the catch. Josh Bard has been wired for sound. Let's check in. Fox sounds of the game from today.
I said I got 1 bat left. I used the judges right there. Hey, you guys got stomach flu or just flu going through there? Stomach flu, everybody. Solid. Come on, Chan, come on, back. Good swing, good hair, brother. See my net, that's it. All right, you got the best stuff on the single planet, all right? Trust it. Come on, let's go.
Best stuff on the planet, huh?
I tell you what, I said Josh Bard was part, counselor out there, part pitching coach. How about part cheerleader, pumping up his lefty, Alan Embry?
Bart is beautiful. Pitching change here. We'll come right back. The St. Louis Cardinals with the best ERA in the National League, clinging to a 4-3 lead here in San Diego. They go once again to the bullpen. And Braden Looper with a rather bloated ERA by his standards, Mark, at 4.34, but he's only walked 4 batters this year in 17 games.
Yeah, and Braden Looper will say himself, it's been a thing about location. Up in the zone, anybody's going to get knocked around if they locate the fastball up. He's got a good fastball. He's the 8th inning guy for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's got a fastball, a slider, and a split.
And facing the guy that leads National League shortstops in home runs with 9, Khalil Green. Did you know, although Khalil Green went undrafted out of high school, Mark, the Cardinals actually approached him before he left for college, offered him a 6-figure deal, but only if he would agree to play catcher. And Green said no to the position change. He said yes to Clemson. Now here he is against the Cardinals as a very popular Padre shortstop.
And you know, it doesn't surprise me because Khalil Green loves to get dirty. He's got great range, and it wouldn't surprise me if they asked him, hey, you want to throw in the gear and get behind home plate? He's got a good arm. He could throw some runners out. Big key about Khalil Green also, he knows when to use that arm.
That's a great point, because you'll see a lot of guys sometimes, just because they're blessed with that arm, they want to show it off whether they've got to play or not.
Sean Dunston.
Yeah, and deep in the hole, you know, I mean,
right.
he might skip one by a first baseman. Suddenly there's a runner at second base instead of first.
Yeah.
Now, with Khalil Green, I think more than anything, and you alluded to it earlier, he just needs to stay healthy. He's an acrobat at short. He's got a great bat. But last year he missed 40 games due to various injuries.
Yeah, he's had some finger injuries, broken finger. He broke his toe diving for a ball, believe it or not, on the way down.
Right.
Which is really a freak accident. If he can get to the baseball, he's going to catch it.
Green, who grew up in Key West, Florida, but was born in Pittsburgh in 1979, just 4 days after the We Are Family Pirates won that World Series. And if Green can scooch that batting average up just a bit, Mark, he may be going back to Pittsburgh this July, playing in the National League All-Star game here on Fox.
Yeah, I would have to say this is one guy the Padres, if you had to pick right now.
To left, paddled down by Bigby. Green is on with a hit if he's going to be a National League All-Star, representing the NL against the AL. Big hits late in games will help. He is 2 for 4 today, and slowly that batting average is coming up.
He goes in streaks, and you know what? He got a high split-finger fastball from Braden Looper. And nice job by Bigby keeping that ball in front of him. That could have been dangerous. If that goes to the wall, Khalil Green has decent speed. Who knows where he would have ended up on that one. Those short hops are not easy.
Bellhorn takes. Well, the Padres had 3 homers yesterday, Mark. They've got a couple of solos today, one from Bellhorn, the other from Giles. They're not known as a home run hitting team.
No, they're not. They're down in the pecking order as far as home runs are concerned. 15th in the National League. Mark Bellhorn likes the ball low. Brian Giles hit a ball that was low out of the ballpark.
In the air, left center field. So Taguchi has the range and has the baseball as well. 2 down. Bellhorn, the former Cub, the former Red Sox, getting back to the dugout, and Trevor Hoffman getting up, getting ready. If Gonzalez can hit one out now, if the Padres go up 5-4, you would quickly have to see Trevor Hoffman.
And Trevor Hoffman has been in the league a long time. He monitors his throws down there and watches the progression of the game. He's not going to blow it out. He's going to go mode right now to where in case he needs to really crank it up, he'll be good to go.
Gonzalez, who homered yesterday and is singled this afternoon. former first-round pick, #1 overall with the Marlins, but stuck on the depth chart there behind Derek Lee and Miguel Cabrera at the time. Cabrera is still there, although not playing first. Derek Lee, of course, has moved on to the Cubs, and he's hurt. Gonzalez ended up with the Texas Rangers the last couple of years, and he was blocked at first base by Mark Teixeira. A little clearer path to playing time here in San Diego.
We just saw Ryan Klesko on the Padre bench without the hat. He's rehabbing that shoulder of his. They shaved down the clavicle a little bit, so he's in the rehab process.
Well, Klesko was the only Padre to have even 18 home runs a year ago. Pretty remarkable when you think about it, that the Padres, without a 20 home run hitter, able to get to the postseason. The last team to do that, the '82 Cardinals. They were all about speed, racing around the bases.
Yes. Whitey Herzog and those guys there. Vince Coleman.
Yeah.
Willie McGee.
A lot of Cardinal fans would love to see Willie's uniform number retired, I bet. Got to think that's coming someday. Now the count goes all the way to 3-0. Jeff Blum is on deck, switch hitter.
And the last thing Looper wants here is to walk this guy and get that tying run into scoring position. You know, all he needs is a ground ball here. Try to work something down and away. Maybe have Gonzalez roll one over. Keep that ball in the infield. They can go the short way for the final out.
At the shins of Gonzalez and called a strike. It is now 3-2.
Well, it looks low there, but you know what? A lot of times you see that camera angle from the side, and you know, more times than not, that ball is at the knees. Kind of tough to tell from that angle.
Green will be on the move from first now. 3-2, 2 out. Left field base hit. Green will move to third. He'll be held. And cruising into second with a double, Adrian Gonzalez.
Well, you talk about doubles. There's a double there by Adrian Gonzalez. In between the bag and third baseman Roland. It looks like the defense, once again, beat by the defense. A great approach on that swing by Adrian Gonzalez.
Gonzalez will be lifted for a pinch runner now as well. Josh Barfield will enter action, and he'll become the go-ahead runner out there at second base. Jeff Blum will come to the plate. First base is open. Jeff Blum has had a flair for the dramatic over the last, well, couple of years. The World Series was certainly imprinted a little bit by what Jeff Blum did. You saw it on Fox. Actually, this one, the Mets and the Padres from earlier this year. But to go back to the World Series, there was a 14th inning hit in a game even bigger than this Mets and Padres game. The walk-off against the Astros last year. Blum, a former Astro. Mike Piazza would bat next, it would appear. Pinch hitting.
I've noticed Looper's been pitching the left-handed hitters away on a consistent basis.
He got Blum to pop it up. Roland makes the call. Roland makes the catch, and the Padres strand two in scoring position. Pujols coming in for the Cards. Now the Cardinals continue to lead the Padres 4-3. A frustrating exercise in many ways for San Diego today. They've got a dozen hits. That's 5 more than the Cardinals have. Oh, and David Eckstein is nailed with the first offering here from the new pitcher. Jim Brower got him, and you could hear Eckstein grunting all the way up here. We mentioned earlier, Eckstein gets hit with a lot of pitches. Mark, he does not wear the kind of body armor that a lot of hitters do.
Oh, and that got him in a sensitive area, too. The lower back. And you know what? You asked David Eckstein, sure, that hurts. But he will gladly take that for the team and try to pad the 4-3 lead here in the 9th.
Mark Bellhorn, as you see, now playing first base. Barfield stays in the game playing second for the Padres. And it is Jim Brower out there on the mound now trying to keep this a 4-3 game. John Rodriguez up there pinch hitting now for the Cards. And not exactly looking to drop one down and move the runner right there.
And Jim Brower's been struggling lately for San Diego. He's allowed 1 or more runs in 3 of his 4 outings with the Padres this year.
Well traveled right-handed reliever. Just fires a couple right behind Rodriguez.
And when Jim Brower is going good, he's going to locate that slider. He's got a decent fastball, but recently, a couple outings ago, he threw that slider. It was down in the zone. If they hit it, they're going to hit it on the ground.
One, 2, 3, and done. Albert Pujols will bat, but with 1 on, 1 out. A short afternoon for John Rodriguez. 3 pitches.
That was uno, dos, adios.
Pujols did receive the intentional walk in the 7th inning. Otherwise, though, 0 for 3. And remember that big at bat with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 3rd. He popped out.
And it's worth mentioning again, Josh, we talk about it all the time. If Albert Pujols isn't doing the job, they're pitching around him, and he stays in the ballpark, it's the other Cardinals in the lineup that are helping the Redbirds out and contributing to scoring runs.
Roland and Encarnacion the backup today, with Jim Edmonds held out of the lineup under the weather. Roland had the big opposite field 2-run double after Pujols popped out in that 3rd inning. Ground ball near short. They get 1. Barfield turns it. They get 2. Pujols hits into the double play. And now the Padres can tie it or win it in the bottom of the 9th on Fox. Fox Sports proud to be the new home of the BCS, which is coming off the highest ratings in history. Beginning in January, Fox is home to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, as well as the new Tostitos BCS National Championship game. The BCS moving to Fox beginning in January '07. Mike Piazza is ready to come up and try and change things here, Mark Grant. It is a 4-3 lead. The Cardinals have their closer on, Jason Isringhausen. It'll be All-Star versus All-Star here. Isringhausen has been to 2 All-Star games. Piazza has been to 12.
And Jason Isringhausen, 15 for 17 in save opportunities. His last outing against the San Francisco Giants, he saved number 15. He had saves in each of his last 9 outings.
Mike Piazza sent a bottle rocket out of here yesterday. One of the longest home runs hit here at Petco Park in San Diego. Off the bench, though. Cold right into it in a 4-3 game 9th inning.
It's tough. Any pinch hitter, you're talking about late in the ball game, you're either hitting against a good setup guy or a great closer. Bruce Bochy and the Padres they'd love the home run, but they need base runners right here in the 9th.
Isringhausen trying to bend it onto the inside corner, but he missed. 1-1.
Mike made an adjustment about 3 weeks ago with his hands. Said he was moving his hands a little bit too much. Now he's keeping him still at the plate. He can recognize the ball easier.
Isringhausen, though, is a tough guy to gauge because he can roll that big breaking ball up there, and he's got a real good fastball. Got a one-time 44th round pick out there on the mound trying to close it, and a one-time 62nd round pick up there at the plate trying to tie it. Back to the mound. Isringhausen retires Piazza, one away. We talked earlier about how you just don't know in the draft, huh?
It's a crapshoot.
Isringhausen has done some special things in his career, moving up on the all-time saves list for the Cardinals, and we mentioned Piazza's probably going to Cooperstown.
First ballot.
Dave Roberts. Strike one.
And with the need of base runners, Tony La Russa is thinking along with the Padres. Scott Rowland in on the grass at third base in case Dave Roberts wants to lay one down. Pujols at first base playing back. No, time is called. They want to bring Albert Pujols in a little bit in case Dave Roberts wants to maybe drag one down the first base line.
There's that big breaking ball and a strike. 0-2.
That's a doozy, isn't it?
It's one of the best out there. Still is.
It's not like the power curveball, but it's got the great break. 12-6 from Jason Isringhausen.
Now, this lead they're enjoying in the ninth inning here today, a byproduct of a 3-run third inning. 0-2 pitch. Now make it 1-2. Mike Cameron on deck. After that would be Brian Giles if the Padres can keep it hot.
Josh, you mentioned it earlier how Dave Roberts, his main objective is not to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He needs to work the count, hit the ball on the line. And you can see Isringhausen, he's not going to mess around. He's going to keep the ball away from Roberts, give him left field.
Roberts could not make the connection. 2 down. It almost looked like he was trying to carve it to left field right there, but he just came up empty.
Looks like he had a little bit more oomph, a little bit more guts on this curveball, more of a power curveball, and you cannot get hurt with that pitch right there, and that's on the outer half, but that ends up at the shoe tops. That's a tough pitch to hit.
Cameron trying to avoid an 0 for 5. Strike one.
Looks like Jason Isringhausen has got his crosshairs in the perfect areas, throwing that baseball towards home plate. Great location on the curveball, and looked like a little cutter or slider.
Yeah, it really moved, didn't it?
On the outer half to Mike Cameron.
Man, he's just doing what he wants out there. 0-2. Missing in, 1-2 the count.
And sometimes pitchers have a tendency to overthrow. Isringhausen wants to chalk up the save. He kind of overthrew that curveball a little bit, really flying open with his front side. That's why he left that curveball in the inner half of the plate.
Tagged in a left field. Cameron gets it done. And a local hero, a fan favorite, Brian Giles, will come up with a chance to win it now for San Diego.
I'm not going to say it was a bad pitch by Jason Isringhausen. It was a fine pitch. It was just location. He hung it over the zone, sped up the bat of Mike Cameron, and he singled to left.
You see the problems Giles has had with Isringhausen in the past. Nothing for 9. I had a feeling time would be called there. It was a stare down. Isringhausen looking in for the sign.
Well, there's a thought here. Bruce Bochy, does he send the runner? Does he keep Mike Cameron at first base?
Remember, Molina's got a howitzer for an arm back there, and if you're a Padre fan, you don't want to see the game end on a caught stealing.
Yeah, he's thrown out 43% this year.
I think a big pitch coming right here. If Giles can twist it in his favor 2-0 and sit on something, you might have the makings of something in the bottom of the 9th inning. And indeed, outside to make it 2-0. If you're Giles, are you sitting dead red here, or I mean, do you have to still guard against the hook?
I think he's sitting for one certain pitch, but I think he's got in his mind he's going to pitch him away. It's going to have to be a pretty fat pitch, middle away, because I don't think Jason Isringhausen wants to go inside and miss. He's going to keep the ball away from him.
It's away, too far away. 3-0 to count. And Josh Bard would be next. Taking all the way. Last year's leader in walks in the National League draws a big one here. The tying man in scoring position. And the winning run at first base for Josh Bard.
Well, his first 2 at-bats of the afternoon, he sprayed the ball to left field for an RBI double. He pulled the ball in the 3rd inning. Maybe Dave Duncan out in the mound, just going over a little scouting report with Jason Isringhausen. And I think the first pitch will dictate what Dave Duncan told his reliever, his closer, on trying to get Josh Bard out in the books.
Two out of 4 today is Bard. Now, we mentioned earlier in the inning he was pretty much putting that curveball right where he wanted to, but not right now. A quick throw to first base, and that is how the ball game ends. Bard never gets a chance to swing the stick. The local hero picked off by a guy who was in the hospital with a stomach flu 2 days ago.
If that snap throw behind the batter, the left-handed batter getting screened, looks like a timing play. Slider, snap throw, Pujols applies the tag. He's known for that.
Giles wearing a look of stunned resignation when he got back to the bag. Nothing he could do. He was too far off. And the Cardinals have won it in a very unlikely manner. Your final today is 4-3. Our Chevrolet player of the game, Scott Rowland, had that big hit back in the 3rd. In recognition of his outstanding play, Chevy makes a $1,000 contribution to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Chevrolet, an American revolution. Now, the Cardinals have squared this series now, Mark. They go to 32-17 overall. The Padres dip to 25-24.
And once again, it's the little things that the St. Louis Cardinals do. They sacrifice, they hit and run successful today, and it was a defensive play that won this game, catching the Padres off guard, that makes the Redbirds going home a winner.
Molina, who succumbed to that stomach flu the last couple of days, makes Padres fans a little sick to their stomach at the end of this one. What a finish. Your final 4-3, and for more info on today's game and for the latest info on Major League Baseball, you're invited, as always, to go to foxsports.com on MSN. For Mark Grant, this is Josh Lewin saying so long from San Diego. Jeannie Velasco and Kevin Kennedy standing by. They'll be along with scores and highlights right after these messages.
Welcome to the Chevy MLB postgame show on Fox. Chevy, baseball's #1 fan, an American revolution. Tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox returns with Next Up Cup racing from Charlotte. The world's best drivers take to the track as defending champ Jimmy Johnson, a San Diego kid, looks to take home the checkered flag for the 2nd year in a row. The Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, in high definition, only on Fox. As we welcome you inside the Fox Network Center. San Diego contained Albert Pujols, but the Cardinals really have their number. They've now won 17 in the last 24 in San Diego.
Yeah, and that last pickoff, Yadier Molina, 13th pickoff in the major leagues, behind the plate, picking guys off. That's #1 in baseball. And, you know, his brother, Jose, the other brother,
his brother, yes.
He's #2, he's 10. And what about Benji? Everybody thought Benji was the best defensive catcher. All 3 of them are great.
Pretty good family, and you could see he saw the whole thing coming, the eyes moving in the
Yeah, that's a play design. You catch the eyesight of Albert Pujols right there. You realize that Brian Giles getting a big secondary lead on the first pitch to Josh Bard, and then you put it on after the second pitch, and that's exactly what happened. Or before the second
and
pitch.
it worked. All right, let's get you caught up on the rest of the action today, going up the freeway a little bit. The Dodgers, though, on the road in our nation's capital, and it's another day and another Dodger injury to tell you about. Jeff Kent, it's your number. You're up.
Left wrist right there. He would come out of the ball game, and we don't know the results yet of Jeff Kent. We know the results of Nomar Garciaparra, #1 in baseball, batting average at 7th inning on, Genie 559. That would be the go-ahead run, and the Dodgers will go ahead and win this game 3-1. Great performance again by Derek Lowe.
And Kent, they're saying it's a sprained wrist at this point, day-to-day. Waiting for updates. Yes, we are all day-to-day. All right, the game that you just saw.
This will break it open right here. Pujols just popped out with the bases loaded, rolling. We get the 2-run double down in the right field line. The Cardinals will go ahead 3-1. So we'll try to come back right here. Bellhorn in the 6th inning. Opposite field. I thought you couldn't go deep in Petco.
Apparently, some have found a way to get out of things. Just a third of the season.
That's the short part right there, 358. There's a pop-up right there getting out of the inning in the 8th inning. Braden Looper right there coming over to the Cardinals. And then the last out. Great design play right there put on by Pujols and Yadier Molina. Great communication. Isnerhauser did not have to throw another pitch. He gets a save.
All right, we're going to pass along the rest of the day's action. The Cubs went down in defeat again, by the way. Hendry coming up before the game to say, Dusty Baker's safe. Can you guys stop talking to me about
he's not going
contractual
anywhere.
problems?
Absolutely.
All right, the Mets. But the big story there, Tom Glavine.
8-2, 17 games away from 300. That was number 283 for Tom. He's pitching great.
Perfect, you're 5, absolutely.
This is a surprise, right?
Yankees pouring it on. They're making them pay for a Friday night when Mother Nature poured it on. Alex Rodriguez, 2 home runs in that one. And we are tied up in Chicago. They tied it in the 9th inning. B.J. Ryan's streak of 26 consecutive saves. All right, next week, Fox Saturday Baseball continues. Barry Bonds furthering his assault on the record books. The Giants and the Mets. How about the Cubs and the Cardinals, Phillies, Dodgers, Angels at the Indians. 1 Eastern and Pacific right here on Fox. And a day late, but we do want to pass along. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you very much.
Despite what the baseball statistical books say, it is the 26th. For Kevin Kenny, I'm Jeannie Zalasko. Have a great Memorial Weekend.
Promotional consideration paid for by